Hey everybody, this is Usarin from BoyMeetsPhone.com. What I have here today is the T-Mobile Samsung Galaxy S3. I'd like to thank the good people at T-Mobile for allowing me to check this phone out. Taking a hardware tour, up front you see that we have a rather large screen. This is a 4.8-inch screen. It's at a resolution of 1280 by 720, so this is a high-def display. It is using Samsung's Super AMOLED technology. This is not a Super AMOLED Plus. It is a regular AMOLED, Super AMOLED. Above this ginormous display, you'll see that we have a metal earpiece grill, a proximity and ambient light sensor, and a 1.9 megapixel camera. Front-facing camera can shoot 720p high-def video. Below the display, see that we have a large home button on the sides of the home button, which kind of nicely disappears. You see that we have the menu and back button. If you are wondering where the search button is, Ice Cream Sandwich does away with the search button, but if you want to bring up the search bar, the only thing you have to do is press and hold the menu button when you have the phone unlocked. Taking a look at the sides, on the left side we have the volume rocker, just nicely defined. On the right side we have a power button, which is not as defined as the volume rocker, which is a good thing because you don't want it sticking out too much. It is easy to find, and this offers good feedback. Up top we have a 3.5mm headphone jack and a secondary mic. Taking a look at the bottom, we have the micro USB port and the main microphone. Around back, see we have a very shiny back. This is hyper glazed. I have the Pebble Blue model right now. Around back we have the single LED flash, a 8 megapixel autofocus camera, and the speaker. Taking off the back of this device, you do have to pry from the top. I'm about to pry from the bottom for some odd reason. It will take some prying to take this off, which is a good thing. You do want to cover that's attached to the phone. But after prying that out, we see we have a micro SIM card, and we also have a micro SD card slot. This does support up to 64 gigs of micro SD goodness. And as far as battery goes, we have a 2100 milliamp hour NFC battery, so this works as the NFC antenna on this device. I do love the design of this device. It fits nicely in hands. Despite the fact that it is a rather big phone, because of the nice curves, it does fit really good in the hand. It feels really nice and natural. It does have a nature theme to it, and that was the idea with the curves, to make it kind of feel like a nice smooth pebble in your hand, and it succeeds at that. Fitting in with the nature theme of the Galaxy S3, you'll find that the default lock screen has this nice water effect. And to open the phone to go get to the home panels, you would just swipe the water. You can also add a lot of things to the lock screen to add functionality, like these icons on the bottom. You can change those in the screen settings. You can also add things like the weather. You can add a stock and news feed on the bottom. You can also have S-Voice launch by you simply saying your activation phrase. You can either use the default one or set your own. And without security enabled, you have access to your notification tray. Oh, okay, end that though. Jumping into the Homes panel, you'll see that you can navigate either by grabbing the dots and swiping back and forth, or the normal swiping between home panels. You have 7 panels to start off with. Pinching in on the display will give you an overview of all your panels. From here you can rearrange them. Say I want this one here, rearrange them, you can delete them. Take this empty one and delete it. You can add another one. And you can set which one is the default home panel, so which one you would jump back to if you hit the home button when you're on the home screen. To customize the home screen, you can tap and hold area, and you'll have the option of adding wallpaper to either the home screen, the lock screen, or both the home screen and the lock screen, and adding things like apps, folders, and pages to the home screen. To change the bar on the bottom, just simply grab them, drag them, and then drag whatever else you want down there. So say I want Dropbox down there, and then Dropbox is down there. Taking a look at the app drawer, T-Mobile didn't add much onto this device. You have access T-Mobile to access your account and check your balance and your usage. You have mobile hotspot for if you want to turn on the mobile hotspot feature. You have T-Mobile TV, Name ID, which will show you the name and the area the person lives in of any number that calls you, even if it is not in your address book. And you have visual voicemail, which will allow you to listen to your voicemails right from the device without jumping into the dialer and calling up voicemail. From Samsung, you have AllShare Play, which is their proprietary DLNA app. You also get Dropbox on board. You do get 48 gigabytes of extra storage compared to the 2 gigabytes you normally get when you open a Dropbox account. For having a Samsung Galaxy S3, you only had that storage for 2 years, and you do have to follow a few steps in order to activate that 48 extra gigs. Flipboard comes preloaded on this device. You have their Game Hub, which will suggest games that Samsung feels that the Galaxy S3 users would enjoy. You have the Music Hub, which has not launched on T-Mobile yet. You have the Media Hub, so you can download and rent movies, TV shows, and things like that. Well, not things like that, movies and TV shows. You also have the Play Movie and TV store. I found that the Media Hub has a slightly larger option, especially when it comes to TV shows. You have a lot more TV shows on the Media Hub than you do in the Google Play Store. You have Samsung apps, which will give you apps specific to Samsung devices, like Keys Air, which did not come preloaded on this device. You do actually have to go and download that. You also get a video editor, which is pretty nice to have on, and it actually has a photo editor in the Samsung apps. I would highly suggest going through the Samsung apps and checking out what they have, because you might find something useful in it. You also have S-Suggest, which is apps from the Google Play Store that Samsung suggests that you check out. And then there's S-Memo, which allows you to create memos. You can either write down a memo, you can draw on it, you can take a picture and draw on it. There's a large amount of, you have a decent amount of options here on this, and it's pretty sweet. Hold on. See, I can draw. So I like S-Memo. So now I have a note that says cat food. And then there is S-Voice, which is, what time is it in Tokyo? It is a voice search. You can ask it to do things for you. You can ask it to write memos. You can ask it, what time is it in Tokyo? You can ask it to check your appointments, to create appointments, check the weather.
10:26 a.m. and 43 seconds JP vertical bar Wednesday, August 1st, 2012.
As you can hear, the voice isn't the most intuitive thing in the world. It's kind of robotic, and I also just literally read exactly what was on the screen, which is good and bad at the same time. It's not the friendliest of voice activation service, but it is pretty cool, and some of the functionalities it adds with the Samsung apps. Like if I press this again and say I want to make a memo. Memo.
Opening memo.
Open memo. I also can just say a memo and it'll write it. Memo. Remember to call mom.
New memo. Remember to call mom, say save memo, cancel or speak it again.
Save.
Save to S memo.
So it's pretty cool, though it could use a little bit of improvement. Editing the app drawer, you can either pinch in. If you do not have it set on alphabetical categories, you can rearrange it, but if you see if I try to do it now, I'm going to say I can't because it's in alphabetical. Hit menu, hit menu, and change the view type to a customizable grid. You can do things like rearrange the grid. I have to say I do not like how Samsung decided to do the folders on this device. They decided to stick with the way they did it in Gingerbread, and I'm not too sure why, especially seeing as how Ice Cream Sandwich handles making folders. To make a folder, you actually have to grab an app and drag it down there to create a folder. You cannot simply drag two apps on top of each other to create a folder. I'm not too sure what made them decide not to take advantage of how Ice Cream Sandwich handles making folders, but they didn't. Also, from the app drawer, you can access your widgets just like in stock and Ice Cream Sandwich, which again makes me wonder why they didn't do the same thing with the folders. But what can you do? You can access all of your widgets from the app drawer. And so that's a look at the app drawer in the Galaxy S3. Arguably, one of the coolest features on the Galaxy S3 are the motion features. You can do things like that you could do on the Galaxy S2, like zooming in by tilting the device. If you have your two thumbs on the device in the gallery or web browser, we'll jump in and show you an example of that. If you tilt the device forward, we'll zoom in. Tilting it back, we'll zoom out. You can pan icons by holding it and moving the device. So I want to hold this and I want to pan it. Let's go with that. And move the icon around. But some new features have been added, like the ability to direct call a user from the text messaging. So say you're texting somebody, you need to call them, just simply pick up the device towards your face and it will start calling the person. There's also the palm to capture motion, which with a palm swipe will take a screenshot. So see if we can do this from behind the camera. There we go. That is a pretty cool use of functionality. I have to say that the coolest part about the direct call is not the fact that it works, but how it works. It doesn't just use the proximity sensor to tell if the phone is close to your face, but it looks for a specific set of motions using the accelerometer and the time it takes between the accelerometer being activated and going up towards your face, and gravity sensor neural that thing sensing this, and the time it takes between that and it touching your face. You can lift the phone up towards you and it won't do it. You can cover the proximity sensor and it won't do it. It looks for specific motions. It's the amount of work that went into programming something like that just astonishes me. Another cool feature that is actually in the display menu is Smart Stay. What Smart Stay does is it will use the front-facing camera to look for your eye motion and looks for your eyes to see if you're actually looking at the screen. If you're looking at the screen, it will not deactivate the screen. I think this is a really good use of the sensors on the device, so I have to give a thumbs up to Samsung for thinking of things like this. Another feature exclusive to the Galaxy S3 line of devices is S-Beam. It is a version of Android Beam, but it switches things up a little bit. What Android Beam does is it allows two ice cream sandwich devices with NFC to make a connection and transfer data via Bluetooth. What S-Beam does is it transfers that data via Wi-Fi Direct. So you will need to have Wi-Fi Direct on, and you will need to do this between another Galaxy S3 device. Another cool feature on the Galaxy S3 is the ability to play videos outside of the video player. So say I want to do something while watching this video here. I can simply tap this icon here, and it will make it smaller. So then if I press the home button, I can watch it while doing anything from texting or going online to view things. The Galaxy S3 runs on T-Mobile's HSPA Plus 4G network. As far as cellular reception goes, I had no issues with this device. I was able to hold a strong signal, and even when in a low coverage area, managed to hold a signal. So I didn't have any missed or dropped calls, and had no issues sending out text messages even in a low coverage area. As far as data speeds go, this is a very fast device. It is capable of speeds up to 42 megabits per second. During my testing, on average, I got 16 megabits per second down and 1 megabit per second on the upload. As far as sound quality goes, sound through the earpiece is very loud, very clear, and very audible. I had no issues hearing callers, and callers had no issues hearing me thanks to the dual mics on this phone. Sound through the speaker was very impressive. I think that Samsung might want to advertise how impressive the speaker is on this device. I was quite surprised on how clear it was. When you're in a call, you have the options of a booster to make the sound a little bit louder so more people can hear what's going on. While listening to music, it was very loud and very audible and offered really good performance. The Galaxy S3 on T-Mobile was powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon MSM 8960 chipset. So that's a member of the S4 Plus series and consists of a 1.5 GHz dual-core Krait CPU and Adreno 225 GPU. This does have 2 GB of dual-channel RAM on it. And as far as internal storage goes, T-Mobile gives you the option of the 16 gig and a 32 gig model. Performance on this device has been very quick. It's a very fluid experience using the Galaxy S3. Very fast, very fluid device. I haven't had any issues with lag. However, I did have an issue in the browser with freezing. While in the browser, I found that the Google apps would crash, causing the phone to freeze every about 5 seconds. Not too sure what caused the Google apps to crash while you're in the browser, but it does happen, and it has happened a few times while I was in the browser. As far as battery life goes, the Galaxy S3 is powered by a 2100 milliamp hour battery. While I was reviewing this phone, I had 3 Gmail accounts linked to it. I had my live mail account linked to it, and these were all being pushed. I also had Facebook being refreshed every hour. I had Dropbox, and I also had a Samsung account linked to it. GPS was on the whole time, and so was NFC, and so was most of the motion actions. With that, I was able to get 14 hours before the phone decided that it needed to give me a low battery warning. So that's about an average of 14 hours before getting a low battery warning. On my heaviest usage day, I was able to get 7 hours before I was at 21% battery life. Given everything I was putting the phone through, I can say that the battery life on this is pretty good. There is a power saving mode. If I go into settings, and what the power saving mode does is it turns down the CPU speed and its power consumption, lessens the amount of power drawn by the screen, and also changes the background color while you're in email and online. If it's white, it changes to black. And since this is a Super AMOLED display, when it shows blacks, it is actually not drawing any power. So it does things like that to help you save batteries. life, and with this on I was able to get on average 19 hours of battery life before I got a low power warning. The web browser on the Galaxy S3 blends the best of both Google and Samsung to make a pretty slick browser. From Google you have access to the Lab, which includes things like full screen viewing and this handy side control. From Samsung you have things like being able to control the brightness within the web browser separately, and you still get the pinch in to get the overview of all the windows. This does support pinch to zoom, and it does work rather smoothly. It is a quick and responsive browser. However, at times it will freeze up. At least in my experience, I found that the Google apps will crash every once in a while, causing the browser to freeze, and this only happens in the browser. It does support Adobe Flash. Yep, there it goes. Froze. That happens every once in a while in the browser, and I'm not too sure why. I'm pinching in all the way. I'm going to go. This does support Adobe Flash. I'm going to hit the Pomegranate phone right now. We are running on T-Mobile's 4G network. So we're going to see how the phone handles Flash while on 4G. Now that that's just loaded up, I'm going to start it up to see how the Galaxy S3 handles Flash. You can see that was a pretty smooth performance. So that was a look at the web browser. The Galaxy S3 offers you a cool and quick way to jump into the camera application. If you touch and hold the screen and rotate the device, jump right into the camera. This setting is available in the security menu. You have to turn that on, and you can turn it off if you want to, but I wouldn't recommend it because I think it's a really good and easy way to get into the camera application. Taking a look at the camera application, you see that it remains largely unchanged from the Galaxy S2 line of devices. The main difference being that there is no longer a grayish color box around the icons. On the right side you have a switch to change from taking still to video images, a on-screen shutter button, and a preview of the last image taken. On the left side you have 4 customizable icons. If you press and hold, you get a list of all the different options you can switch these out for. I like the fact that you can choose which shots, which modes, and which settings you need to be able to get to quickly personally. So it's whatever ones you use the most. I like that level of customization. Out of the box you have the option to switch from the rear 8 megapixel camera to the front facing 1.9 megapixel camera. You have the flash controls, you have shot modes, which we'll talk about a little bit. You have your focus modes, which you have auto, macro, and face detection. I'm not a huge fan of having to select face detection separately. I like to always have that available to me so I don't have to sit there and switch this on anytime I need to take pictures of people's faces, but this is what Samsung has decided to do with it. In the settings, you can edit those shortcuts. You have most of the same settings that you have available already, so we're not going to go through those again. You can turn the timer on and off and choose how long you want the timer to go for. You can add effects such as negative, black and white, and sepia. You can change the resolution of the image all the way down to 0.3 megapixels. Change the white balance, the ISO, metering, turn anti-shake mode on and off, turn auto contrast on and off. You can turn on and off the guidelines, change the image quality from superfine, fine, or normal. You can turn geotagging on and off, and you can also turn the shutter sound on and off. If you have a micro SD card in your Galaxy S3, you have the option of choosing where your videos and photos are stored. Going into shooting modes, you have a single shot mode, a burst mode, which will take shots as long as you press the shutter button. So as long as I'm holding the shutter button, as focus, it will continue taking shots. And it will take up to 20 shots very quickly. You also have the best shot mode, which will allow you to review the images just taken to pick out which you believe is the best shot. You have HDR, or high dynamic range, which this mode does is it takes 3 pictures at different exposure levels and stitches it together to create the best picture possible. And you do have to hold the camera still while doing this because it does take a little bit to process. You have Smile Shot, which will wait until your subject is smiling before it actually takes the picture. So after you press the button, it will wait till your subject smiles until it takes the picture, or until you hit the shutter button and give up on them smiling. You have Beauty, which will remove any blemishes from your subject's face. You have Panoramic mode, which will stitch together up to 6 shots. So if I go like this, you have Cartoon mode, which makes your subject look a little cartoony. And then you have Share Shot, which uses Wi-Fi direct between other Galaxy S3 devices. And once you have it set up, turn on Wi-Fi direct, and you scan for nearby devices and connect to them, it will share the shot you take right after you take it with those devices connected via Wi-Fi direct. And then you have Buddy Photo Share. What that does is uses face detection to find faces in your photos and allows you to tag those faces. Once you tag them, anytime you take a picture of them, it will automatically recognize them and allow you to simply tap on their face and share your photo of them with them. I think that's a very cool idea. As far as image quality goes, this is a really good camera. It captures a good amount of detail, especially in macro mode, like the color reproduction, and this is a fast camera. It doesn't take much time for it to focus and take a shot. It does take a little bit longer when you have the flash on. Turn it on just so I can show you how long it takes, but it doesn't take too much more longer. It's still a pretty quick camera even when you are using the flash. The 1.9 megapixel camera in front is also very quick and also really good with details for a fixed focus camera. It also should be noted the camera in the back is a backside illuminated camera, and it also has an aperture of f2.6. Switching to video mode, the rear 8 megapixel camera on the Galaxy S3 is capable of shooting 1080p high def video. The front camera, the 1.9 megapixel camera in front, can shoot 720p video. So you have 2 high def cameras on this device. Another cool thing is with both cameras, while you are recording, hold on, I actually have to switch modes. While you're recording, you can take pictures, but you cannot take pictures while recording if anti-shake is on. You do have to turn that off before you can simultaneously record. Now that icon is going to show up there. Now I can simultaneously record and take photos. This does support continuous autofocus, so if I move in, it will refocus. You can turn it on and off. You can also tap to focus. And does a pretty good job with focus. I found that the audio quality on the Galaxy S3 was very, very good. It picked up sound really nicely, and the video quality was really good too. It records at a frame rate of up to 30 frames per second, and it does a really good job at capturing details and colors. And while recording, the continuous autofocus is fast. You don't hear the camera lens moving around to refocus, and it just does a really good job. The front-facing camera, while recording, also does a good job with the frame rates and does a good job of dealing with light changes. So overall, the Galaxy S3 offers a great photo-taking experience. The Samsung Galaxy S3 currently holds the spot as the first and third most expensive device on T-Mobile with a 2-year contract. The 16 gig model will set you back $280, and the 32 gig model will set you back $330. If you are in the market for a new phone with T-Mobile and have the money to spare, I would highly suggest picking up a Samsung Galaxy S3. This is a very fast, very fun device, offering very fluid performance, a great camera, a great screen, and with Jelly Bean hopefully coming to the Galaxy S3 in the near future, this phone will only get better with time. For my full in-depth review of the Galaxy S3, head over to the site boymeetsphone.com. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel and to like me on Facebook. This is Yasaran from Boy Meets Phone. Thanks for watching.